Different focus tonight. I think you guys found out the other day I wasn't very happy. Just in our pregame conversations, and I've spent 2 days just trying to reconnect this team in terms of what we do on the defensive side and how we go about it, and having a little emphasis on that. And it's amazing how offense becomes easier when you don't worry about it. And I thought tonight was a great example of that. I thought I didn't know Terrence had 31 until I postgame. He guarded the basketball like he did early, and we got connected that way, and that makes things easier for us. But I thought our emphasis last 2 days, we didn't work 1 second on offense. We knew they were going to play a little zone. We worked on that today in shoot around. But it's all been about the defensive side and just getting back to guarding. And the only thing that we didn't do on that side today was loose balls and just come up with them. We got to be much better at that. That didn't impact this game, but it could impact us in March. So Coleman was fantastic. I thought he set the tone when they went to zone, get the ball in the middle to him, and he just sprays it. And the last thing he does is look to score, but he throws that thing out and gets TJ a couple wide open threes. 50% from the 3-point line. You'll take that every night. 12 of them. I keep wishing we would shoot more, but tonight was a solid night. And then I thought defensively, we talked a lot about keeping them off the 3-point line. I thought that was the one way they could beat us. As if Williams and Namari and Llewellyn made threes, they throw one in the last minute. So we did a great job there following the game plan, and all in all, a good night.
Brad, what do you think, or what encouraged you most about the defense? Coleman said being more aggressive, pressing those guys a little bit, maybe you like that a little bit. What did you like?
We guarded the ball. We weren't 8 feet off the ball. We guarded it. We actually connected with it, and we're a team with size and length. We don't have Trent. So we're not going to be that. We're more a team that we have to challenge. We have to rear view contest. We have to keep chasing guys, and instead I think we got really comfortable just funneling them into Coleman. And and then taking the easy way out by calling a switch, and we basically eliminated that tonight. And it's what we did early, and it got us to 7th or whatever we were in the country, and get back to being mean and nasty.
Offensively, you guys, you say you didn't really work on offense, but those guys, it seemed like the ball was moving tonight, much better execution, cutting, when they would come double, just seemed like you had a great game plan, even though you maybe didn't work a lot on it. What is that, just a testament to the age and skills of your guys?
Yeah, and it's the I don't want to say we weren't focused on it. We talked about, we knew what they were going to do. But putting a game plan, we've had to adjust almost every game. So it's been running your base stuff, because teams have cross-matched us, teams have done this or that, and we've had to counter that. The Michigan State game, we posted Coleman a ton against the guard. So we've had to adjust some things. So it's been more on the fly, making some adjustments. But yeah, veteran team did that. But again, I think it still goes back to the emphasis being on the other end. And that's what's gonna win. We got a number 5. We're number 5 in the country on offense. So probably moved up after tonight, I would think. But we got to understand what wins. Offense is fleeting, and we got to keep figuring out how to win when the ball doesn't go in.
I know you talked about reconnecting and the emphasis on defense. I'm just wondering if there's anything from the last 2 days that you could paint us a picture of kind of what that looked like to spark that attention to defense and that shift.
We lost. Losing. I mean, there's 2 things that happen when you lose. You either learn from it, or you accept it. And we have a great locker room, and we're not going to accept that. And if anybody liked giving up 9 out of 10, and when the game's on the line against Michigan State, when we have an 8-point lead and control the game, then they don't need to be in that locker room. And this is a really smart group. It's a cerebral group, and so losing's brutal. I mean, it's in my world it is, and so they don't accept it, and we learned from it, and we talked about it. We showed film, and then we went out to try to correct it.
Brad, you mentioned it with Terrence on the ball. How much can he be a tone setter there, and how did you see him embrace that tonight?
That's what he does. He's 6'6", 220 pounds. He's athletic as anybody in America. You know, he's a guy that has to want to be that guy. And then he finds his way to 30. You know, he finds his way to 20. Terrence is going to score 20 most nights just by being out there. But that's his impact on us. And everything starts on the defensive side. When you see somebody sitting down and guarding, I took him out in the first half. He one possession, he stood up, he got back screened, he wasn't ready to play. Get out. And if you're not going to be ready to play all the time, then I'm not going to play you. And he's such a focal point of teams on the other end. He needs to be a focal point of what he does on that end because he's really, really good at it.
To dovetail off that point, Brad, you had said when Terrence got back, it was just going to take time. You were going to have to wait on him and take time. What was the plan for him, and what was the plan for the 4 other guys on the floor as you guys waited?
I don't want to say I had a plan because I don't. Then I'd be disappointed if it wasn't met. And so you always want things. I'm very impatient. You always want something sooner than it happened. But you're realistic. He was gone for a long time, and coming back, we were in a pretty good groove offensively, so it just almost had to happen organically. It had to happen in the right way without any pressure to go do this or go do that, and I think he's handled that in a pretty good way. I think he was averaging 23 a game, his last 3 coming in, and we truly haven't run much to him. But re-engaging him on that end has the ability to take us to another level.
Coach, they had four early offensive rebounds and very little after that. Was there a point when your team just got dialed in on the defensive glass? Yeah,
and Doug, it's one of the things we talked about. I think they were number 1 in the league in the last 5 games. They were averaging almost 13 offensive rebounds a game, and we felt like that's the one area that they could really hurt us. And usually when you get an offensive rebound, you either get a layup and a foul, or you get a kick out 3. And I was petrified of the 3s. And again, we fumbled a couple balls and we should have had, but we I don't know what the margin ended up, 10, 9, but and I think that's one of the things that I felt pretty good about because they're big and they're physical.
I guess as a coach, to have a guy like Terrence that can score 20 or 30 and you don't have to just run set after set to do that, I guess what's the comfort or the advantage or just I'm not sure how to phrase that, but just to know you've got that in your back pocket.
Well, I think when he starts shooting the 3 like he's shooting the 3, then he becomes a really, really hard guard. And again, Ty, Coleman, Marcus are all really good playmakers. It's what he does on the defensive end triggers what he does on the offensive end. He gets out in transition. If I could ever get him to be a 6-7 defensive rebound a game guy, he'd get another 4 or 6 points. He scored 4 or 6 the other night at Michigan State on the offensive glass. If I could ever get him consistently to go to the offensive glass, he'd find another 4 or 6 points there. He just knows how to find baskets. And he doesn't need a lot of help doing that. And getting to the free throw line and all those things factor in. But he finds points in a lot of different ways, and his teammates find him because they're all playmakers.
Coach, to kind of piggyback on that 50% 3-point shooting tonight, how much of a relief is it for you to kind of see those shots fall in, especially with the recent struggles here at home?
You guys make that up, not me. I mean, I relied so little on offense, and you guys think I'm nuts, I know, because it's so fleeting, and it can come and it can go. And is it great to have one of those nights? We've had a few. Is it something I worry about? Most of the time, I just want them to keep shooting them and shoot more of them. So I don't really concern myself with it. When we're taking good shots and the right shots, I'm all in, because really good shots are hard to find.
Brad, Luke's usually one of the first ones off the bench. What was the reason behind him kind of coming in later?
Nothing, just kind of a, Luke's a tremendous shooter. He's fighting, he's competing, and just kind of stayed with the little group a little longer, and that was kind of what the game needed on the defensive side. So he'll be fine.
Last one for Scott.
The last 3 games now, Coleman's got 17 assists. I mean, has there just been, the opportunity's got to be there, but has there been, have you seen something from him where he's facilitating at a higher level like that?
Yeah, other than his no-look pass against Michigan State, he's just made. No, he tried to throw a back cut. He's made really smart plays and simple plays, and obviously somebody's got to finish him. But the game's really slow for Coleman. Mentally, he just sees it, he understands it. He's never sped up, and and then playing in space has been great for him because he's shooting the cover off of it. So teams are all, they were barking all night, shooter, shooter, shooter every time he touched it, and he's pretty gifted that way.
All right, thanks.